Thousands of people pass through here every year on their way to Scotland's islands. But beyond the ferries lies a town of fresh seafood, whisky, abandoned history, and one of Scotland's busiest harbours.
Gosh, that is quite a steep hike to get up here. I think I found it.
This is Oban. I have made it here to Oban. The population of Oban is between 6,000 to 6,500 people, but in the tourist season in the summer, the population can reach up to 25,000. I'm starting my time here exploring Oban at one of the most iconic sites here in the town. It's called McCaig's Tower, and it oddly looks like a Roman Colosseum. Located high above the town on Battery Hill, McCaig's Tower is Oban's most recognisable landmark. You can see it from almost everywhere in town. It's a bit of a steep climb up from the seafront, but it's definitely worth it. Let's go inside and take a look. This building was commissioned by a banker called John McCaig in 1895, and it was meant to be a memorial for his family. However, he sadly passed away before it was ever finished, and his family never finished the project, so it was never completed. But it's one of the most striking landmarks here in Oban, and one of the top things to see if you come and visit. The structure itself has around 94 arches in total and was originally meant to be far more ambitious. After his death, John's family opposed the idea of using his fortune to continue the project. The courts eventually ruled against the work going ahead, so construction stopped, which is why the tower was left unfinished. Today, the inside has been transformed into peaceful public gardens. It's meant to be possible to see amazing views over the whole of Oban and the bay from the windows facing the sea. So let's go over and see the views. This is often considered one of the best viewpoints in Oban. From here you can look right out across Oban Bay towards islands like Kerrera, Mull and Lismore, while ferries are moving in and out of the harbour below. You can sit inside some of the windows here in the tower. It's a really lovely place to sit, read a book, take in the views. Before I continue, I'd like to say thanks to Airlo for making it possible to film this video today. One of the first things I really like to do whenever I arrive somewhere new is get my bearings, work out where I am and where I want to go. If you've been travelling abroad this spring, you probably know what I mean. When you arrive somewhere new and you don't have network coverage, it can be quite stressful and quite frustrating. Maybe you're trying to check directions, book a taxi, or just let a friend or family member know that you've arrived safely. That's why for a while I've been using eSIMs whenever I travel abroad. It makes travel so much less stressful. You set up the eSIM before you leave your home country, and once you arrive, you're already connected and can access the internet. The eSIM that I always use is Airlo. It's so easy to set up. All you need to do is download the app, choose the country that you're traveling to, choose a data plan, and then install it in just a few minutes. There's no need to swap out any physical SIM card, hang around at the airport trying to get a SIM card, and you can also avoid any data roaming fees from your home network. If you've got a trip coming up, maybe you're coming here to Scotland or to Oban, I would definitely recommend getting an eSIM. You can get $3 off your first Airlo eSIM by using the code RUTH3. I'll leave a link in the video description below, and thank you again to Airlo for sponsoring today's video. My next stop here in Oban is just a short walk from McCaig's Tower, and it's not really something that is probably on the normal tourist trail. It's the site of an abandoned hotel, and the story connected to this is absolutely fascinating. I think the start of the walk up to the abandoned hotel is up here, so let's go. Wow, it's so lovely. All the bluebells are out at the moment. This is really steep actually. I'm scared I'm going to fall off the edge. I think I found it. It's really overgrown. I almost didn't see the building. Oh, wow. Can you see it hiding in the trees there? Look at that. I wonder if it's possible to get in. I have found a better way inside. Let's go down here. This is the best view of it from the front here. Look at that big tower on the left. Wow, it's so overgrown now. Over here in the bushes, there's even more buildings. Wow, look how big the windows were, so they could get the views over the bay. Work began on this hotel in June 1881, and it was meant to be one of Oban's grandest buildings, a huge 137-bedroom hydropathic hotel overlooking the bay. The plans included Turkish baths, seawater plunge pools, a concert hall, winter gardens, stables, a golf course, and even its own private gasworks for heating and lighting. Around 300 workers were employed on the project. The railway station here in Oban opened in 1880, and that brought a lot of tourism here. So it's amazing, the idea that they had for this hotel. Imagine if it was still open to this day. I'm sure it would be incredible. By 1882, parts of the roof were already in place, and the hotel appeared to be close to completion. However, costs had been seriously underestimated from the beginning. The original company behind the build eventually backed out and sold the project to an English firm. Despite all these plans, the project collapsed in December 1882, when the new company decided it was no longer financially viable to continue. The unfinished structure was abandoned and never opened to the public. Over time, a lot of the sandstone was removed and reused in buildings around Oban. I totally loved exploring that abandoned hotel. I'm going to head into the town now, and my next stop is going to be the Oban Whisky Distillery. And you're probably thinking, Ruth, you always visit whisky distilleries on your travels. Well, this one is very important for Oban. It's a really unique story because the distillery came first and then the town was built around it, unlike in other places where there was maybe a town first and then the distillery came later. You'll find that in Scotland, most distilleries are in quite remote locations, and if you're travelling by yourself and going to these distilleries, you can't try the whisky when you're there because you need to then drive. This is quite a good thing about Oban. You're in the town and the distillery is right here. To get down to the distillery, you can see it there, you can see the chimneys. You can go down this pathway called Jacob's Ladder. Look at that. Oh, that is so cool. Jacob's Ladder is a steep stone staircase with 144 steps. It links the seafront to the upper part of the town. Because Oban is built on a steep hillside, the staircase became an important way of moving around the town before cars were common. There's the distillery peeking out there. Gosh, Oban is so hilly. I think if you lived here, you'd be really fit from walking up and down these hills to go down to the town. The name comes from the biblical Jacob's Ladder, a term often used for steep stairways. One more set of steps to go down here, and we're almost there. Down here is the seafront. Oh my gosh, I can smell the sea air. So this here is the main street in Oban, and the distillery is just up here ahead. Better hurry up because the tour starts in about 3 minutes. The distillery should be up here. There it is. So that is the Oban Whisky Distillery. Wow, the building looks so old. Right, let's go in for the tour. Oban Distillery is located right in the heart of Oban's busy town centre. It was established in 1794 by brothers Hugh and John Stevenson, at a time when the area was little more than a small natural harbour. Over the years, the town of Oban gradually grew around the distillery. Today, although the distillery is now owned by Diageo, it has managed to keep its traditional character and unusually small size. Because of its central location, there has never really been room to significantly expand production. The distillery operates with just 2 stills and produces a very lightly peated whisky.
often described as balancing smoky West Coast character with sweeter notes of fruit, honey and sea salt.
I have finished the distillery tour. It was really worth doing. It cost £24 and included in the tour you get 3 drams. So you can either drink them during the tour or you can have them in little bottles to take away with you. So I actually decided to do that because the tour was at 10:30 a.m. and it's quite early for me to be drinking whiskey anyway. And you also get a dram glass to take away with you as well. I love collecting all the different dram glasses from the distilleries that I visit in Scotland. The distillery is really small. There's only 4 rooms used inside the distillery to make whiskey. But if you're in Oban, I think it's a really worthwhile thing to do because you're probably going to be staying in Oban and you don't need to drive. You can just walk back to your accommodation after trying the whiskey. I'm now down here at the harbour and the seafront of Oban, and you can see behind me McCaig's Tower where we started the day. There is so much going on here, so much hustle and bustle with ferries coming in and fishing boats and also little day trips to other islands. Because of all the fishing boats coming in here to Oban, there's lots of places in the town serving fresh seafood. Oban is known as the seafood capital of Scotland. So you can go to restaurants and have more of a substantial meal, but there's also a seafood shack along the harbour over there, and that's where I'm going to head next for some lunch. Just in front of me here is a company called Oban Sea Tours, and they do little trips from Oban. It's a 2-hour sightseeing and wildlife tour, and then this is the map. So you go from Oban around the Isle of Kerrera over to Mull. I don't think you land on Mull, you just have a look at Duart Castle, past Lismore Lighthouse, and then back to Oban again.
While you're down at the seafront, you really notice how the buildings climb steeply up the hillsides overlooking the bay. Oban actually means Little Bay in Scottish Gaelic, and despite how it's spelt, it's pronounced Oban, not Oban.
This is the little beach here in Oban, and when the tide comes in, it completely covers it with water. Just opposite is this pub called the Oban Inn, and it's meant to be one of the best pubs in Oban. I came down onto the beach and there's hardly anyone on the beach. I think I'm the only person. Nobody comes down here. Everyone's on the pavement. This here is Oban train station. So Oban is really well connected. You can catch a train from Glasgow and come all the way here to Oban. I'd like to take this train sometime actually because it goes along parts of the West Highland line and it's meant to be an incredibly beautiful train journey.
The arrival of the railway in 1880 transformed Oban almost overnight. It allowed whisky and other goods to be transported more easily to markets across the country, while also bringing the beginnings of mass tourism to the town. Previously a quiet fishing village, Oban quickly grew into a bustling Victorian resort known as the Gateway to the Isles, with direct rail connections linking passengers from the Central Belt to ferries serving the Hebrides. In the railway's first full year, around 37,000 passengers arrived by train. Here are all the fishing boats, and then this here is the Calmac ferry terminal. Oban is Scotland's busiest ferry hub, and from here ferries connect to islands including Mull, Lismore, Kerrera, Coll, Tiree, Islay, Colonsay, and even Barra and South Uist in the Outer Hebrides. It's also a popular starting point for day trips to islands like Iona, Ulva, Staffa and Lunga.
So up here on the left is the very famous seafood bar, and I think it's known locally as the Green Shack because it's green on the outside, and they're really famous for their seafood platter, so I'd like to try that today, I think. So here's the menu. What would you order?
The Green Shack is officially called the Oban Seafood Hut. It was founded in 1990 by local fisherman John Ogden. At the time, much of Scotland's best seafood was being exported abroad, so the idea was to sell fresh, local seafood directly to people visiting the town instead. You can get seafood like lobsters, langoustines, oysters, scallops, mussels, crab and smoked salmon. John Ogden passed away in 2023 at the age of 74, but the business continues to be run and remains one of the best known seafood spots on Scotland's west coast.
So this is the seafood platter. Oh my goodness. I'm not eating this all by myself. I have a friend who's come to join me for lunch, so I'm not being an absolute greedy guts, but this is crazy. So I think there's prawns in there, there's salmon. I think this is crab claws, mussels. Oh my gosh, it's all falling off. There is so much of it. Wow. The seafood platter was so good, but so big. You definitely would need 2 people to finish off that seafood platter. The queue now for the green shack is crazy. Look how many people are waiting in line.
One thing I really like about Oban's High Street is how many independent shops there are. With so many visitors passing through on their way to the islands, there's a big demand for gifts, whisky, crafts and outdoor gear, which has helped smaller local businesses thrive.
It is not even the peak summer in Oban and it feels really busy. I've never really been here in the busier season. I've only ever been here really in the winter months, so it's always been quite quiet and the seafood shacks aren't open in the winter months, but yeah, it feels really busy today. Just opposite me here is another famous place here in Oban. It is called the Oban Chocolate Company and they are really well known for their hot chocolates. It's probably more of a winter thing to go for a hot chocolate, but they're so good. So I'm going to head in there and get one.
Oban Chocolate Company was founded in 2003 by a local couple. The idea came to them while travelling in Australia after visiting a chocolate factory there. And when they returned home to Oban, they decided to start their own chocolate business.
I got the hot chocolate. So this one is the May special and it's coconut milk hot chocolate. Oh, it looks so good. Okay, let's give the famous Oban hot chocolate a try. So you get a chocolate thing on the top and then cream as well. Wow, chocolate is so good. That is so yummy. This one is made with coconut milk. But inside they have so many different ones you can choose from. They even have chili hot chocolate, dark hot chocolate, so many different flavours. And then loads of chocolate that you can buy as well. I think this is the best hot chocolate I've ever had. So good.
Just over there is an event space. I've actually been to a concert in there before and it was a really good venue actually.
It's called the Kerrera Halls and it's regularly used as a venue for the Royal National Mod. The word mod comes from an old Gaelic word meaning a gathering or assembly. It's a huge festival celebrating Scottish Gaelic language and culture that takes place in a different Scottish town each year. Oban is considered the home of the mod because the first one was held here in 1892. Thousands of people travel to it each year, especially Gaelic speakers, musicians and performers from the Highlands and Islands.
It's so nice to walk along here and then watch all the ferries coming and going. There's so many ferries that come in and out of Oban. Further along, there is a castle to see, so that's where I'm going to head next. The island just in front of us there is the Isle of Kerrera, and that really shelters Oban. You can see here the whole entire bay, and it's all completely sheltered by Kerrera. So this is Oban here behind me. This here in front of me is the cathedral. It's called St. Columba's Cathedral. Looks like the door is open. Let's go in and have a look. This is amazing. My goodness. I didn't expect this from the outside. It looked quite unassuming from the outside, but inside it's huge. Look how tall the ceilings are. Wow, that is incredible. The cathedral is amazing. If you're walking past, definitely go in and take a look inside. So many impressive big buildings here along the seafront. Most of them look like guest houses or hotels. I even saw a hostel as well. They all must have amazing views. This here is the Oban War Memorial. In the distance you can actually see the castle on the hill there. There's the option of taking this path through the forest, or you can go along by the coast to go to the castle. I think I'll go through the forest. Wow, the bluebells are amazing. Look at them. Here is the entrance to Denali Museum, Castle and grounds. Unfortunately, I've left it too late today and I've missed the last entry.
Denali Castle was once the ancestral seat of Clan MacDougall and sits on a rocky headland overlooking Oban Bay. The site has been associated with the clan for centuries, with the surviving castle ruins dating largely from the 15th century, although people are thought to have lived here long before that. The medieval castle itself is now a ruin, but the nearby House Museum tells the story of the MacDougall family, clan life and the history of the estate.
If you keep walking past the castle, you can reach Oban's beach. It's called Ganavan Sands. If you are to walk all the way from the town centre of Oban to the beach, it takes around 50 minutes, but there's also a bus. I'm already about halfway along because I walked out to the castle, so I'm going to continue on and go and see the beach. I am having such a good day. I've really enjoyed my time in Oban. I think this incredible weather helps. The weather forecast today was a little bit hit and miss, but it's actually been totally fine. It's really, really nice and mostly blue skies. The app that I've been using the most to check the weather recently is called XC Weather, I think, or XS Weather. It's meant to be the most accurate, but who knows?
So, I have made it to Oban's beach. Wow, that was definitely worth the walk. It's beautiful. Oh, some people are in swimming.
Ganavan Sands is Oban's local beach, located around 2.5 miles north of the town centre. The beach is sandy, sheltered and popular with both locals and visitors, especially in the summer months. If you're lucky, you might even spot seals, otters or dolphins.
I have made it here to Ganavan. It is so nice. The views over to the Isle of Mull, the Morvan Peninsula, all the different islands. It's amazing. There's a food truck here that does really good ice cream, but they've already closed up for the day. But if you come here, make sure you go to that ice cream truck. Down here, there's also a portable sauna as well. Oh my goodness, that looks so good. And then maybe that's why people were swimming in the sea actually. I have made it back to the Oban town centre. I did quite a lot of walking today. It's quite a walk out to Ganavan and back, and I got some fish and chips. I really wanted to try the fish and chips from Oban because it's so famous for the seafood here. There's quite a few fish and chip shops in Oban to choose from, so it's quite a difficult choice, but the one that I went to is called George Street Fish and Chips. The price of my fish and chips was £14.95, which I think might be the most expensive fish and chips I've ever bought anywhere in Scotland. So let's see how it tastes. I also got homemade tartar sauce. It was £1.50. I love having tartar sauce with fish and chips. There's 2 hills just near Oban where you can hike. One is called Battleship Hill and one is called Pulpit Hill, I think. And they both look really good, but I think I've done about 30,000 steps today. So maybe we'll save that for my next trip to Oban. But if you're into hiking and seeing some good views, I suggest you to do them. So let's see how these fish and chips taste. My gosh, looks so good. I always ask for lots of vinegar because I absolutely love vinegar. It was a busy place. So good. Tartar sauce looks so yummy as well. Wow, I think that tartar sauce might be the best I've ever had. Oh my goodness, it is so good. You can taste the capers. Wow. If you go there, you need to try the tartar sauce. Let's try the fish. It was interesting. They had a few different fish on the menu there. I saw they had hake as well, which I've not really seen before. But I went for the haddock. Wow, so yummy. I think after today, I'll not be eating seafood for quite a while. I'll be having a little break. I have enjoyed my time in Oban so much more than I expected. I always just came here to catch ferries to go to other places, but it's really worth coming here and spending a little bit of time. You could have a full day here and there's lots to do. Thank you so much for watching this video, and remember, if you plan to come to Scotland and you want to get an eSIM, you can get $3 off your first Airlo eSIM by using the code RUTH3. See you next time.